All right, welcome. We are moving on here to the paragraph panel options. The paragraph panel is found right here next to the character panel. If you did not watch the previous video for some reason, the paragraph panel is found here, window, all the way down to type, and then paragraph. Pick that right there. If you are selected on something here, the basics of the paragraph panel are over here in the new properties panel. And again, if you click on the little dots here, you do get more of the paragraph panel options. The paragraph panel has a drop-down menu, which has a couple options in it as well that we'll go over. And it has Adobe Single Line Composer and Every Line Composer. Um, we'll play around with each of these. So we have basically here two separate things. Um, and we're going to look at alignment, indents, and spacing on these. The paragraph panel has these little up and down arrows, so you can see it like this, or this. I like to keep them all open. This checkbox allows items to hyphenate. I do ask in the homework that there is no hyphenation, at least on the top part especially. So you want to make sure you come in here and uncheck that box. Make sure it's unchecked so that you do not get any hyphenation. All right, we're going to zoom in here so you guys can see this text better. Kind of want them to be close. So maybe I'll move them a little bit closer to each other as well. There we go. All right, so this is our original. We pasted some text in here, and this one here is going to be our secondary one that we're changing. So you can see here that we're on the align left. You can also align center and align right and justify, which means all of it is stretched out across with the last line aligned left. So these are paragraphs here. That's the last line of aligned center, last line aligned right, or everything justified, which can have its moments of being good, but right here it's a little bit awkward because this new version adds must have giant space features. So usually in this case you wouldn't be picking something like that, but if you had a fuller line, then you might want to consider it. And then below that we have some different kinds of indents. You have left indent, first line left indent, and right indent. So left indent moves, this is my space here, and it's actually moving it over from the space entirely, right? Um, Same thing on the right, it moves it over entirely away from the wall. Why might you do that? Well, we might have the background colored on this. You might have some other things going on. And when you do that, then you'd want it to be away from the edge, like if there was a border there, or maybe it's just next to something else that you don't want it to be touching, but you want to keep that alignment for another reason over here, so you push them out of the way. And there's also the more typical first line indent, which goes for the beginning of every paragraph. It has an indent here. All right. We also have space before paragraph and space after paragraph, and we can move those around as well. All right. And the hyphenate, as I mentioned. Um, Over here, we've got Roman hanging punctuation, uh, justification, hyphenation, Adobe every line composer, and reset panel. Reset just takes everything back to default, so you'll see all this pop back to the default as well. I don't usually see a difference in here between every line composer and single composer. I probably need to look that up and see what the differences are with those. You can also come into your hyphenation here and change how the hyphenation works. So you can hyphenate or not hyphenate capitalized words. You can say that the word has to be longer than a certain amount of letters to get hyphenated. You can choose some better spacing versus fewer hyphens choices. There's a lot you can do with the hyphenation in here. Justification. Same thing here. When this is for counting for the justification over here on the paragraphs, so you can actually change around some of the word spacing, the desired maximum, minimum letter spacing, same thing. I don't usually do a lot of big paragraphs in Illustrator, so I don't play around with a lot of these in here. If I'm going to do a lot of paragraphs, I tend to take it over to InDesign. But if you don't want to learn InDesign and you're going to be doing a lot of the paragraphs and things in here, it would be good to learn some of these things in here. Roman hanging punctuation. I have another document that's going to show us that later, but basically, I can do it in here as well. When you have things justified all lines, you can see that the periods come out here and they're still part of it. When you have Roman hanging justification, it sticks the periods out off to the outside so they're not getting in the way of there being a letter down the edge here. And I believe it works with quotes as well. Let's see here. Yeah, it sticks the quotes outside too. So any kind of punctuation, Roman hanging punctuation, gets hung on the outside so that your letters line up nicely here. If you don't have that, then the letters are off a little bit. So it just depends on how you want your document to look. Let's see, is there anything else in here? That's all there. Yep. So that's that panel. The next panel over here is the OpenType panel. Again, same thing. If it's not open, you go to Window, Type, OpenType, and choose that to open it. The OpenType panel does not have anything going on over here in the Properties panel. It's not something that gets used as commonly, and therefore it is not there. It is used to turn on special glyph enhancements for selected characters formatted with OpenType fonts. So you can see here our font is Myriad Pro, and that is an OpenType font. So we have different kinds of figures here. We can say tabular lining, proportional old style. Oh, I'm in here, nothing's happening. Hold on. Not sure anything would happen anyway, but we'll check. Tabular, nope. Proportional old style. Oh, that changed something down here. Couldn't see what it was. It just changed the spacing somehow. Lining, tabular old style. Again, it's just moving stuff around. Positions. Oh, it'll pick letters for you that go superscript and subscript. Numerators, denominators. You can change F's and I's. None of this is really doing anything for this. First, this is see, there's another way you can do the first, second, third things here. So if I have first, and we'll do a 1/2 here, I should be able to select the first and click on that, and it would pop it up. Totally not doing it. And let's check on the half here if it does the half one. The half one it did do. So that is the way to do the half. The only other way to do a half would be to build it basically with your character panel, which takes a lot of work. So just try to remember that if you want to do halves, 3/4, that kind of thing, come in here, and if you have OpenType fonts, you can do this. And again, you might see this in the future on some sort of a test. I don't know why the first didn't work. I have had people complain to me before that it did not work. But again, if you cannot make the first work here in the OpenType and you want to use that font, or I've required you to use that font, then you can go to the character panel and do the superscript. And that took the whole thing up into superscript, so I would just need to make sure that I didn't have the one selected. And come back over here and unsuperscript that. Now we've got the first thing going on there. You could also try, let's see, what happens if I just take this and do the first? Nope, still not working. Interesting. So, again, I think I've mentioned these things to you before, but sometimes stuff in Illustrator just doesn't work because it's something that nobody ever comes in here and does, and nobody's caught the problem or nobody's reported the problem. If you see these things, if they're not working for you, you can always go to the Help menu and submit bug feature requests and say, hey, I'm trying to use this OpenType panel, and you can hold over this and see what it's called, ordinals, and I'm trying to use the ordinals on my Myriad Pro with tabular old style default position, and nothing's working. And they might say, hey, well, you have to use default figure and then do it, and then it works, or they might never even contact you. or they might fix it someday and all of a sudden it will work in the future. So you are welcome to do those things if you like. All right, I think that's going to be all for this video, and our next video will be on other advanced formatting, some different things we can do with legacy text and glyphs, etc. And I will see you all in that video.